You guys are at the Oyster House in downtown Pittsburgh. We've been here since 1870, 144 years. It's the oldest establishment. We're the second oldest oyster house in continuous operation in the United States. Everything is original floor, copper ceiling, tiles, windows. We still use a dumbwaiter. We do all the prep on the third floor. The building itself is over 200 years old. Back in the days, they were here for mostly the working people, so a lot of mill workers, mine workers, and they come in here and they sit down next to guys to be covered in soot. There used to be a sink over in the corner of here. They used to wash up, go to the bar. All they had at the bar was fish sandwiches, oyster patties, hot sauce and vinegar. That was all the condiments they had. That's the only food they have. That's our famous fish right there. That's what we're famous for. They used to come in here, they drink a big glass of buttermilk, and they coat the inside of their stomach from the dust from the mills didn't upset their stomach, and they ate 3 or 4 of our oysters, and it kept them full for hours on end.
We have known that before Lou Grippo, my father, the current owner, that there were 4 other owners before him. One of them being Huey Lynn, which we were told was the original owner of the Oyster House, and then Louis Americus, who purchased the Oyster House in 1906. And it was his estate that sold it in 1970 to, my father. He grew up in the Strip District. And back then, it was a bunch of row homes, a lot of families, everything like that. And his family was very involved in the church. And his pastor at the time, he would send all the boys down, and they would get fish sandwiches and pop. And he would go in, and he would go to the bar, and he would be the one, he'd order all the food, order all the drinks, and he would pass all the food back to the other kids, and they would sneak out the side door. And he would be the last one to leave out that side door, and the owner, Louis Americus, the one that he purchased it from, he would be like, "You damn kids, where are you going? I'm gonna find you," and all this other stuff. He knew that they were younger, and he let them go, of course, but he was messing around with them. My dad, at like 12, 13 years old, turns around and he goes, "You know what, mister? Someday I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna buy this place, I'm gonna fire your ass." He ran out. And so many years later, that vow came true.
The day the Lou Grippo bought the Oyster House, 1970.
We pride ourselves on serving the highest quality seafood possible, 100% freshness, quality. We live, breathe, eat, sleep this business. It's the bar side that is the historic landmark part. It was originally the site of Bear Tavern. It was established in 1827. Between 1827 and 1870, the building was either completely knocked down or remodeled, and then that was whenever it became the Oyster House.
We found a tunnel downstairs in the basement that we're going to check out and see if they can do it. They can estimate to see where it goes. They think it was at one time was part of the Underground Railroad and then into the Prohibition bootlegging liquor. We found that down in the cellar. It's down there right now. Well, we had a historian came in, and he dated the tunnel back to the early 1800s. We have this picture here is the day Prohibition ended at the bar in 1933. That's the original picture.
When my dad purchased it in 1970, it was very, very run down. He turned it around. He brought everything back to life. He tried to restore as much as he could on the original bar side as possible in order to have that feeling, because for him, he grew up here. It's families, generations We have groups every year. My grandfather's brother brought me here, you know, or I've been coming down here since I was 7. My dad brought me here because his father brought him down here. And it's just really special to be a part of that. And the emotional connection, I mean, I have physically seen people cry. You know, they moved away from Pittsburgh whenever they couldn't find jobs or weren't opportunities here. They moved away, found another job, East Coast, West Coast, wherever, and they come back 10, 15, 20, 30 years later, and they feel that emotion. But to see them and say, oh my gosh, you know, I remember this bar, I remember sitting here with my grandfather, or, you know, my mom bringing me down here, or anything like that, you know, and it's so great to see it.
It's been massive changes downtown. At one point, there used to be 4 squares in the, that's why you call it Market Square. There used to be 4 squares there, and it was just a haven for the bums, pigeons, drug addicts. They were just hanging around the square, and it just was a bad neighborhood. And then they redid it once before, and it helped a little bit, but it still didn't take care of the problem. Since this new one they did, I think it was, 5 or 6 years ago, they put this new square in, massive changes. There's so much going on downtown. Square has picked up 100%. The good business, we have people who actually, they're eating outside, not worrying about people bothering them. There's good police presence in the square. We have bands out there. We have farm markets on Thursday. We have Mr. McFeely from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood reads to kids on Tuesday afternoons out in the square. When they start the renovation, they have the whole square fenced off. And it really hurt Market Square if you weren't prepared for it. We got prepared for it. There's a couple of restaurants that end up having to close because they weren't prepared for the slowness that came with the renovation. But that's the one thing the city promises is once the Market Square was open, there would be a big police presence to make sure that nobody's out there. They actually came out with a booklet of pictures of the people that harass other people. And they asked the businesses all in the square to make sure we don't serve them. And they know not to come in the square now. And we don't see them in here. And that keeps a lot of the businesses safe. And a lot of people eat outside now. They feel safe to come down here.
But they clean it up. I think they, you know, the city, the Market Square Merchants Association, you know, different, I believe it's the Colcom Foundation. They put in a lot of money to help renovate Market Square and to kind of, you know, give it this look, this feel, openness, and, you know, you can roam around and check out all these restaurants and, you know, other businesses and things like that. You know, I know that there are initiatives to bring people back into the city, whether it's living, working, playing, what have you. You know, people are really putting their heart and soul into it, and it's paying off, you know. A little bit of communication goes a long, long way. And I think that the city, the merchants, we've all done that. We've all communicated, we're working together, we're all, you know, as a united front, making this a safer, better place. People that are kind of new to the situation, they'll misinterpret it as, oh, well, it's old school people that don't want to give it up. You know, they don't want anything to change. Lies. It's not that they don't want anything to change, but they want to make sure that the change is right and that it's something that's going to work in the long term.
And we get a lot of people to come here because they know we are original for Pittsburgh. A lot of people don't like to go to chain restaurants. They like to come to something that's original to the city. And we have a lot of the concierges at the hotels, a lot of cab drivers, a lot of shuttle drivers will tell people to come to the Oyster House.
If you look at the map behind us and the ones over on the wall, we have people from everywhere. We have had people from almost every single state in the, you know, here, Europe, everywhere. I mean, you have that. And to be able to see those people and to be able to, you know, share your story with them it's just so wonderful. Having this open view, this is going to be something that is going to be wonderful forever. You know, it allows concerts, different holiday market, all these different things to happen in one central location.
Many changes have been made to protect the safety and well-being of businesses and their patrons. And although Market Square has transformed over the years, the Oyster House has remained the same. The Oyster House has and continues to be a historic and personal connection for Pittsburghers of all ages.